You are now entering the spoiler zone. The following podcast contains explicit plot details and pockets of profanity. You have been warned.
The Exton Moss Experiment. Adventures in Wine and Space with Simon Exton and Ken Moss. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another edition of the Exton Moss Experiment. I'm Ken Moss.
I'm Simon Exton.
And I'm Paul Isles-Rush.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
This time it really is a somber note, because we're recording this in memoriam of Network. Dr. Exton, this is a black day.
Yes.
Network have been responsible for putting out some DVDs that, frankly, no one else would have gone anywhere near.
I think you're underestimating quite how many archive TV fans there are. They will have sold enough for their lines to be at least breaking even. We're not the only old geeks out there who like old telly.
True, but how many companies are out there clamouring to release stuff that will break even?
Oh, Network was obviously a labour of love. It is a dreadful, dreadful, dreadful shame it's closing down because there is so much archive stuff that they would have done a wonderful job at releasing that probably isn't going to see the light of day until it becomes somebody else's joy project.
Well, in view of this, and it's a very, very sad day because they put out some wonderful, wonderful releases and found stuff they weren't expecting to find. What was the one? It was
It's Dark Outside.
It's Dark Outside is the one that leaps to mind.
And I think Undermined.
Yes, they found a few that they didn't expect to find existing. In view of that, we are going to watch 3 episodes from their splendid box set of Coronation Street from the 1960s.
It was before my time, but I remember when the VHSs first came out and I sat down and watched them all with my gran who loved Coronation Street, an old school Coronation Street. I think she stopped watching it in the late 80s or something.
Well, very bizarrely, since it was at least 10 years before my time, the 60s episodes of Coronation Street are by far my favourite. Paul, I know that you're a bit of a fan. You watch it now, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I still watch it now. Obviously appreciate that it goes through its ups and downs, but I have seen the first episode several times. I think we might have done it in media studies when we were at college, but I think there's just something about those 60s episodes that makes it stand apart from a lot of anything else.
Well, I live, in fact, we are recording in a terraced house. So I've got a real soft spot for all those earlier ones where it is just a kitchen sink drama and people are eating, as we're going to find out in the first episode, which we're watching tonight, just how people used to live in terraced houses and that lovely, cosy, snug feel that used to get on Northern Terrace streets.
Yeah. And I was going to say, on a more serious note, if you're looking at a historical document of how people lived 60 years ago, soap operas are what will tell you what it was more than anything else.
Yep.
You have always said this, and accurately so, as I think we're about to find out.
And the other thing about soap operas is that as well as recording how society is, they're really instrumental in driving forward changes in society, so acceptance of social minorities, racial minorities, disabilities, mental health issues, and all of these now are consciously driven forward by soap operas, and there will be helplines available at the end. In this sort of era, they would just be interesting storylines, but a face would be put to an issue. So the 60s, you'd have the issues of unmarried pregnancy and what else they have? Suicide.
Suicide, yeah.
Social unrest with Ken Barlow being a student radical, which it's difficult to believe now, but, 60 years ago.
Before we go too down the analysis route, it's time for a little drink here. I'm going to get out the tonic screwdriver and open the gin. Tonight we are drinking Copperberg Strawberry and Lime Gin. It's 37.5%, and the infobollocks is absent, frankly. There's scant notes on the bottle. Copperberg Premium Gin is distilled with pride and expertly infused with natural fruit flavours for a bold and balanced taste. Expertly infused with natural fruit flavours. The end. Anyway, it's strawberry and lime gin. We have had one of those before, and I think it was the passion fruit and something, and we really bloody liked it. Gentlemen, it's pink.
It looks like that swilly out solution from the dentist, doesn't it?
It does in the glasses we're having it as it does. Oh well. Good grief.
It smells like bubblegum.
It does smell like bubblegum. It's that artificial strawberry.
There's a French strawberry flavoured chewing gum that smells exactly like this.
We've done this conversation before for another gin. Chewits.
Yes.
Eyes down, gentlemen. Dive in. Chewits.
Bitter Chewits. I don't think the strawberry in that bitter underedge works.
I'm not keen on that as I was on the last one. It's a well-made gin. They've certainly got the flavour and they've certainly got the smoothness there. There's no bite as such. I'm with you that there's the bitterness of the lime.
I'm not getting a wild lot of lime. I'm getting bitterness, but it's not particularly a limey bitterness.
No.
It's not a citric bitterness, is it? It's just like...
Good noise there. That's the best description we've had on TS so far. Stick around. It's a temper.
The strawberry is artificial flavoured. I can't really taste a wild lot of lime, possibly a little bit, but there's that nasty bitter underedge to it as well. I'm not wild keen on this. It's 3 from me.
Yeah, it's a 3 from me as well.
It smells to me, because obviously Copperberg started out doing fruit ciders, and it smells very much like the strawberry and lime cider, which is lovely on a summer's day. I don't know whether I was disappointed because it doesn't taste like that, but it's very artificial strawberry, and then you get that
I'm definitely having that as a jingle, yes.
I'm going to give this a 2. Sorry, Copperberg. I like your cider though.
Well, the slightly dubious glass in hand this time. It's time I shall press play. We are, fuck's sake.
We're starting to watch the first episode. Let's get on with it.
Now, the next thing you've got to do is to get a sign writer in. That thing above the door will have to be changed.
It's funny having my name over my own shop. Florrie Linley, licensed...
Florence, you mean?
Hey.
Well, that's your real name, isn't it?
Oh, yes, but nobody ever uses it. Come to that, I've got another one, too.
That'll have to go up outside, then.
Whatever for?
Well, it's the law.
Florence Lena Lindley.
Sounds like an imprecation. The patent medicine man calls Thursday. Now, you'll have to watch him. He could sell sand to the Arabs.
I'll remember that. There's more to it than you'd think, isn't there?
Oh, you'll soon get into the way of it.
Mrs. Lappin, I do appreciate you staying on while I get in the run of things. You know how it is when you come to a new street. You don't know anyone or what to look out for.
Oh, Coronation Street's all right. Mind, there's some you'll have to watch.
What happens if they ask me for tip?
No, a bit on the slate's not a bad thing. If you didn't let some of them have it, they wouldn't spend nearly as much. Mind you, you'll have to choose your customers. Now, for a start, the tanner's at number 11. If you'll take my advice, you won't let them go a penny over 10 bob. If you do, you won't see sight nor sound of them from one week's end to the other.
The Tanners of number 11, I remember that.
Oh, hello, Linda. Not gone back then yet?
I brought you some empties. Oh, and I want a quarter boiled ham.
You've not met Mrs. Lindley, have you? This is Linda Cheveski. She married a Pole. Linda Tanner that was.
Hello.
How's your mother, love?
Oh, she's not too bad now, thanks.
Well, that was the very first episode of Coronation Street from 1916. I loved that. Without any pretense at all and without any sarcasm at all, I really loved it. It's a proper, what you might class as a kitchen sink drama. It's set in terraced houses in the local pub and the local corner shop, and it's very, very much how life used to be. I might be looking at it through tainted nostalgia eyes, but either way, it was really simple stuff. It was just northern people interacting on a street as they would have done. It sounds very dull described like that, but I really loved it.
It felt really cosy.
Yeah.
Cozy, that's the word, yeah.
No, nothing happened in it. It was meant to run for, I think, 13 episodes.
Yeah.
And it's now been on for 63 years. But yeah, we all sat there and didn't speak for the whole 20 odd minutes that it was on. And literally nothing happened. there was no plot develop. I mean, you get that because it's the first episode and it's introducing the characters and stuff. But if that was now, there would have been some death. Or, like one of the characters, that bike tyre that they were pumping up would have exploded and someone would have died or something. But that didn't matter, did it? It was great.
And pretty much all the really compelling characters were female.
Yes.
That's true, actually, yes.
So, because apart from that, there were the...
Florrie Lindley and...
Well, no, I was thinking in terms of male characters. There was Dennis Tanner and there were...
Ken and Frank Barlow and the brother David.
And Albert Tatlock.
And although they would go on to be long-running... Well, not so much... I think Frank Barlow got killed off quite quickly, I think. And David got killed off quite quickly as well.
First one to be killed off was Ida.
Yes.
Because she got hit by a bus. I'm not sure what happened to Frank. Didn't he have a heart attack or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And David was killed in a car crash, but that was off screen a couple of years after he'd left, sort of tail end of the 60s.
But Albert, although Albert went on for many years, Tatlock.
I remember Albert Tatlock when I was watching it with my gran in the 80s.
Yeah.
I hadn't realised he'd started in it that early, and his front room looked like an antique shop.
I think it always looked like an antique shop, didn't it? It didn't get any better. But no, the two women in the corner shop, there's Florrie Lindley, who took over the shop from, and it did say her name right at the beginning of the episode, I can't remember. Neither can you two.
Nope.
No.
But Violet Carson.
I said no eclairs.
Ines Sharp.
Oh,
they don't build them like that anymore.
She was brilliant, wasn't she?
And Annie Walker behind the bar.
And Elsie Tanner.
Elsie Tanner, Pat Phoenix. This is where I have real problems when people say that there were no strong characters written for women or women. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of examples you can pull out of a hat of old television where there are no female cast members at all, or women are reduced just to the screaming pretty girl. Plenty of examples of that in Doctor Who. Savages, I think, is one, isn't it? Are there any women in the Savages?
Yeah. There's Nanina. Do you remember when we talked about the Savages? And it's the women who are the ones that ultimately resolve the plot. It's Nanina and it's Dodo. And without those two, they would have just carried on and on.
It's not what I'm thinking of. It's one with Polly in where there's no female characters, and there's another one with...
Well, that's 10th Planet. That's Moonbase. There are female characters in the Macra Terror, but they're very decorative in background. It's the basically majorettes.
So it's a bit... I mean, it's unfair that we do pick out Doctor Who for this, because that's an action adventure.
Are there any female characters in The Smugglers?
No. There aren't.
That leap to mind.
I think Tony Warren specifically wrote Coronation Street
with strong female characters, because that's what he'd grown up with.
Yeah.
It's more the fact that it's a good example of 60s television where there were strong female characters, and it's frequently levelled at television that there were never any strong female characters or strong ethnic minority characters in older television. The examples that we've watched over the years, that's just not true on the whole. There might be, don't get me wrong, there might be examples of it or ones that you can pick out where that is true. But from what we've watched, I know we're selective, but it's not broadly true. And a lot of the strongest characters have been either female or ethnic. They've certainly not been, or should I say, they've not been the stereotypically downtrodden, derogatory background characters, the underdog, the butt of the joke. It's just not true.
And when you've got sort of almost under the thumb female characters, and the only one was really Ida Barlow, wasn't it?
Yes,
because other than that, you've got... Okay, Florrie Lindley was a bit wet, but I think she comes into her own later. And she's kind of the new character at the beginning that is equivalent to the Doctor Who audience identification figure, where outgoing woman can explain what's going on as a way of telling the audience what's going on. And then you've got Ina Sharples coming in and reinforcing that.
Overall, though, I really enjoyed that. It's up there with the very first episode of Doctor Who.
I thought you were going to say El Dorado.
Nothing eclipses El Dorado as the pinnacle of first episodes. And for those of you out there in listener land, El Dorado
is wildly entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons.
insanely entertaining. And I think our listenership would actually absolutely bloody adore El Dorado. If you go and look it up it's on the Tube. The first 4 or 5 episodes are certainly on there, and you just can't believe what you're watching. Go and look that up as an example of starting episodes of a soap opera. But no, I mean, looking back at it now, it's very easy to look through 21st century eyes and look at that as a bit hick, and nothing really does happen, and it's a bit, in quotes, dull. But I look at that with absolutely magical eyes. I just look at it as you said before we even started, as a snapshot of that period of social interaction and social development. The family sat round the tea table with a pile of bread and cups of tea. That's what I grew up with. I didn't grow up in a terraced house. I grew up in a semi, but that was what I grew up with. And it's got a very nostalgic feel about it, of family tea time. I think we've lost a lot of that. The little coal fire and Dad in his shirt sleeves and his braces changing an inner tube on the kitchen on the living room mat.
Oh, don't do that.
You know, with the paper down and packing his pipe and sitting in his armchair. Mum with her knitting, him with his crossword. And it sounds very quaint and very twee, but that is how people used to live. And I've got to be honest, it's not that long ago in the area where I live where that was still a thing.
I really liked how Ida, when she had a point to make, before she did it, because he was fixing the tyre on the thing, she went to the drawer and got her knitting out and sat down and started knitting before she made a point, because then she had something to focus on. And it was
something to stab him with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. A bit of both. One thing I really liked about it was, because I still watch Coronation Street now, as I did 63 years ago.
Of course.
That you recognise the houses.
I was going to ask you that. I can recognise the Rovers because it's a primitive form of what it's like now, but it's still recognisably that horseshoe bar. And you can recognise the basic...
But a much smaller set.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But the actual tenets of it are there. And you can recognise the corner shop, the sort of the primitive first version of that with the door where it used to be and what have you. But the houses, the framing of them is slightly different because the fireplace in the Barlow's house, which is number 3, I think, isn't it, in this? Because Albert Tatlock's at number 1.
Yeah.
Which later became Ken Barlow's house.
Yes,
didn't it? Yeah.
they now live at number 1, yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't he inherit Albert Tatlock's house?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
think
know
so.
a bit more about it than I do. But the framing of the houses with the fireplaces where they were, and they're very generously proportioned for terraced houses, I'll say that. About twice the width of my house. So I wouldn't mind buying a house on Coronation Street, wherever it is. Might be moving to Weatherfield in the near future.
As the years go on, some of them become 4 or 5 bedroom houses. They're like Helen Daniels' house and Neighbours. But you do recognise, like when she said number 11, where I think it was the Tanners that live in number 11, wasn't it? Which I think is now where Kevin Webster lives, which is next door to this shop.
This is where you're going to score over me quite considerably because I haven't watched... I was never really a Corrie fan. Over the years, I have watched it, and I was with somebody 15 years ago, and I watched it for a good 5 years while I was with her. So I got to know the character, got to know the street. But I've never really been a Corrie fan. I do feel I've missed out. But yeah, I do. And I've tried... A couple of years ago, I tried to get it. I think I told you I just sampled an episode or 2, and it was just relentlessly grim. I think from listening to what you said, I dipped into it in a period where there was some major event going on. So it was a bit more EastEnders than the Corrie that I remember, the sort of Jack and Vera, Bette Lynch era, where it was all Reg Holdsworth, that light-hearted bounce to it.
Hilda Ogden.
Well, yes. And now it seems to be far more gritty. Now, I know that life is more gritty, but you don't tune into a soap opera to watch relentless grit, because that's what life is like every single day. You watch it for a touch of escape. So where are the Reg Holdsworth? Where are the Hilda Ogdens?
There are, though, now. It's to a lesser extent, because if it was comedy scene after someone's having the tea, nobody will watch it, because, like we said, that was absolutely fantastic. We absolutely loved watching the first episode. But if there was a new drama that came out today and everyone, you must watch this, it's called Coronation Street and it's set on a terrace street, brilliant, let's watch it. And then it was, so someone who's moved into the corner shop, great. Somebody being told to watch his language in the pub, right? And things have changed televisually and from our expectations. Absolutely, if they remade that now, I would watch it. I would absolutely love it. But I don't think there would be millions of us.
I do take your point, and you're right, of course. 21st century watching habits have changed massively. I think the problem that I've got with soap operas now, which is why I'm just not, I don't have the time for starters. I don't have the time. I mean, let's be honest. But whenever I tune into any of them now, they are relentlessly grim. There's none of the light touch that there used to be in. Very much, like I said, I'm saying this as if I was some sort of big aficionado in the 80s and 90s. I wasn't. But whenever I dipped in, there would always be. I remember you talking about Reg Holdsworth and Curly Watts and
Raquel.
Raquel, there's the scene where she quotes in French to Kenny. It's the one that's oft repeated. Just that light touch seems to be missing now from EastEnders is televisual. That's basically Veritas on television, isn't it? If you want to put a family member to sleep, that's the way to go. But it's the balance. I think that you're right in that there needs to be a little bit more sharpness to 21st century. You couldn't have somebody moving into a corner shop and having an argument over, you're getting oil all over the carpet. Wouldn't really go very far in 2023, but I do think it needs to be balanced out.
You can imagine an Alan Bennett play doing that, can't you?
Yeah.
I glanced at Thora, up to her armpits in oil, changing the inner tube on the antimacassar. She scowled at me over the settee. I looked on, casually masticating a sponge finger, and my mind was cast back to a cold July evening back in 1965. The era constructed Thor out of an old Bendix washing machine. He's off.
We've got at least half an hour. You can go get a drink.
And the thing I did notice, now that I've remembered what the woman who was leaving the corner shop was, her name's Elsie Lappin.
That's the one, yes.
Yeah, and she makes this big fuss about how you can't have Florrie on there and it can't have abbreviations and it's the law and you've got to have your full name. Well, Elsie is an abbreviation.
Yes.
Oh, you're going to educate me now for Elspeth?
Yeah.
Is that what it is for?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I didn't know. I'd never even thought about it before.
Or Elise.
Sure, that's just swapping the letters around on the Scrabble board.
Well, Elise is actually a name.
Yes, no, but it's only swapping two letters around. It's a very poor crossword clue, that. Just before we go on to the next episode, with all this talk of the light touch and what have you, I know I have mentioned this to you before, Paul. Simon will not be remotely interested, I don't think. I honestly, genuinely think that you would love The Archers. Now, I know that you do a lot of podcast listening on your dog walking and things, but The Archers, to me, I've been an Archers addict for a long time now, and it's got that lightness of touch mixed with the serious story, and some of them are very serious.
And it had Paula Quatermass.
It did have Paula Quatermass in, and she was jolly good, even back in the 1950s, don't you know, when she was cast very much for her talents as an actress, not because she was related to the producer, definitely not, no way, not no, never. And she died in a terrible fire in a barn. Actually, she was not great. Her character died, but she wasn't playing it at the time. She'd been replaced by that point. She'd been replaced by Alpha Centauri.
It's in judgment.
For the screaming. Oh, the flames!
Oh, no, the flames, Daddy. Don't burn me, Daddy, the flames. Oh, anyway, we should move on. It's time for the next episode in our Coronation Street 1960s extravaganza. And it's from the 13th of May, 1964. Martha Longhurst dies in the snog. Ron VT.
Spoilers.
You've ruined it now.
Here's the Mary Rose, and let's see what she knows.
You all right, Mrs. Longhurst? My gum, you'll have to get used to supping wine in Spain, you know. When I was in the army, we always called it the...
Get the doctor.
Here's the Mary Rose, this is what she wrote. Can't get away.
He's dead.
That was a touch dramatic, wasn't it, boys and girls?
It was.
To give some background to the episode, this was brought on by the introduction of a new producer, 29-year-old ex-journalist Tim Aspinall, who replaced Margaret Morris as Coronation Street's producer. Steptoe and Son had beaten Coronation Street in the ratings, first time it had ever been beaten. So, the new producer decided that a shake-up was needed, and she got killed off in the new producer's very first episode. Dr. Exton, this is where, what did you call it?
Well, I called it The Night of the Long Knives, but it wasn't. It was called The Bloody Purge of 1964, because there were 9 characters got rid of.
It was widely criticised.
Particularly Martha Longhurst, because she was an incredibly popular character and very popular among the cast. And Violet Carson
Threatened to resign.
No, she did resign over it, and she was persuaded back. Martha dies in the snug. Ina Sharples is playing the piano, and everybody's singing along. And slowly, as people realise that something's happening in the snug, people stop singing. The last thing that happens is Ina stops playing the piano. And just after that, Len Fairclough says she's dead. And he deliberately left a longer pause than he was supposed to, so that the she's dead line could be easily cut out.
But they didn't.
But they didn't. And as well as her, all of the Barlows were sacked, including Ken.
Now that I did not know.
Well, Tim Aspinall didn't stay in the producer role for very long, a matter of months, I think. And a number of the sackings were reversed, including both the Barlow brothers. But Frank Barlow left. The adult Hewitts left, but their daughter stayed on. She was originally supposed to be sacked, but the powers that be said you can't get rid of the only child character in the street, so she went to live with the Walkers. Jerry
Booth
and his wife, they left, and Florrie Linley left.
You see, this is where you two score over me in terms of your television history, because I don't... Again, I'm coming to Coronation Street really and just enjoying it for the spectacle of what it is, rather than knowing any of the history of it. But I've got to say, I really loved that.
I enjoyed that episode much more because there was much less setup. It wasn't as slow. There was stuff going on.
Well, the episode itself centres around Frank Barlow selling his shop and getting $6,000 for it, and immediately blowing
all of it.
5,000 of it in the Rover's return on a party for all his in bunny ears friends or freeloaders, as I think they would be called nowadays.
And the thing that triggered that was him winning 500 quid on the premium bonds.
I'd missed that bit. Yeah, I just got the $6,000 from the sale of the shop.
And the actor loved the role and was absolutely distraught when he was sacked, and a fortnight later had a stroke.
Oh,
what a tragic episode this is.
It does go back to what you were talking about before about the light, because it was quite a funny episode, and this is what Coronation Street absolutely does best.
Yes.
It's normally always a knees up in the pub while something horrifically tragic is happening. Yeah. In this case, in the same room. But there was an episode I messaged you about because we were talking about Coronation Street, and there was an episode which I think it won an award, but there was a really horrific, it was part of a stalker storyline where one of the characters had acid thrown on them, and it was a really horrific episode. But at the same time that was happening, there was a wedding going on, and it started in number 1, the House of the Barlows, and Ken Barlow
Sounds like a Hammer horror film, doesn't it? The House of the Barlows.
But there was Ken and about 6 generations of his family, but all of them were in that room, and it was like a really lovely, funny scene that was intermingled with this horrific attack. But I think that's what Coronation Street does best. Things like this, where they're all crowded around the piano while someone
Dies.
just gives up on life and dies.
You see, the thing that I'll level at Coronation Street more than any other soap, I think Emmerdale's got a touch of it, but again, it's lost its way, is that light and dark. And none of the other soaps that I can see seem to have got the balance quite the same. Even Brookside.
I was going to say Brookside used to.
Yeah. But
it was more... It was more fantastical,
extremes, wasn't it? Yeah.
But it very quickly lost that cul-de-sac. In the 80s and 90s when it was on, I lived on a cul-de-sac like that. So it was...
Murdering people.
Well,
being a lesbian.
That patio didn't lay itself. So I got into Brookside very much in the early 90s, and nothing to do with Anna Friel being in it at all. No, definitely not. But it lost its way in terms of... It just veered far too much towards the relentlessly... Negative's too strong a word, but it was relentlessly gritty, and it became more of a drama than a soap. And I think that's where, as far as I can see, I remember watching EastEnders when it first started. There was no greater distraction on a Sunday afternoon when you had science homework to do. And then Antiques Roadshow was on, got to watch that. And then Last of the Summer Wine, well, I can't possibly miss this. Science homework will wait until the morning. And I remember even then, it was just unrepentantly grim. There was no light and dark. It was just dark. And this is why, watching episodes like that, even though it was clearly a sad ending.
But she was a comedy character up until about the last third of the episode.
Yes, absolutely agreed. And I can't quite, because towards the end when she ordered that large sherry and this massive quart of sherry appears in her hand. Good grief. We should drink at the Rovers in the 1960s, me and you boys.
Pints of champagne.
Yeah.
How else are you going to serve it? And there was a sort of tipping point where she was looking at her passport mournfully, as if all the shine had been knocked off this Spanish holiday she'd been talking about all episode. It was just the light and dark. The one thing that got me that I thought, this is... You and I, Paul, we've talked about the joys of the pub over and over. And one of the things that I do feel we've lost is the piano sing-song. Because I've been to many, certainly in East Lancashire, not so much where we grew up. It wasn't really a thing where we grew up, but all of 13 miles down the road... It is a thing, the piano sing-song, and it's just such a lovely thing in a pub. It's never shown on screen now. It never happens on screen. It rarely happens in real life. And I just think they're lovely, glorious moments caught on film. You couldn't give a shit, could you? No. I just love those little warm... cozy moments, as you said.
Whereas I think that sing-song around the piano really aged it in a way that pretty much nothing else in the episode did.
I agree with you, but regardless of whether it's relevant now, isn't it a lovely cozy moment?
Oh, yeah. The episode where Hilda Ogden left in whatever year it was, and the end of that was a piano sing-along. I think something like 25 million people watched it. And, I've never experienced a piano sing-along.
Really?
Apart from at the Hollywood Show Bar in Manchester. And that was more someone singing on top of a piano rather than But yeah, I've never experienced it in real life. I think it would be great if it did happen. I wouldn't be averse to it.
It's the most marvellous thing. I think it's, again, possibly there's plenty of pubs in East Lancashire that have still got pianos in, and they still have, every now and again, somebody will burst into an impromptu piano sing-song. I remember even at the Mill Tavern, where at quiz nights, it used to go on there. And I think it's a lost art, frankly. It's one of the things, it's on my list of things to do, and I better bloody hurry up, really, is learn how to play the piano so I can just, whenever I see one, I can just sit down and strike up a chord. And it's one of my biggest regrets in life. I never learned to play the piano, because if you can make a piano sing, the whole room comes to life. People just gravitate towards the piano when it's being played, particularly in a pub. So yeah, I adored that. I honestly, genuinely adored that, and we've still got more to go.
Yeah. It was a much more entertaining episode than the first one.
Yeah.
They weren't introducing cast, they were carrying on with plot. The characters were meshed in. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
Next, we're going on something even more dramatic, aren't we?
We are indeed, because we are travelling forwards in time to the 8th of May 1967, when the residents are horrified when a train crashes through the viaduct. Run VT.
Excuse me, has anybody seen Elsie?
Hey, Jenny! Jenny, come on! Everyone come out here! There's a train through the viaduct! Come on! Somebody! 999! Please, tell them! He's terrible! What's up?
Right, everyone. Well, we have just watched what we intended to be the episode where there's a train crashing through the viaduct. On the 8th of May 1967, we were absolutely gripped by it, and we watched the episode from 2 days after, on the 10th of May, when men set about removing rubble aided by the police. Jack, Ina, Elsie and Lucille are all missing. David crawls under the rubble and finds Sonia. He can't tell if she's alive. Spoilers, she ain't. And David finds Ina under the rubble. We don't know whether she's alive. Spoilers, she is.
He's coming out the other side. I think he found something.
You all right? She's there.
What, the lash, you mean?
Yeah. She's trapped between the footplate and the loose wheel. Her head's near the wheel.
Well?
Oh, she's covered in it. I've managed to get her legs free.
Wouldn't have known anything, lad.
Anybody under there?
There's a lad finding out.
I found her! Dead?
One definite, another probable.
No chance.
I reckon it's the woman Conway told us about.
It's Mr. Sharples.
It's a mark of how good that was that one episode turned into two.
For 55-year-old telly, where realistically not a huge amount happens, it was still absolutely gripping.
I loved that. Best part of an hour of TV in black and white.
Yeah.
Where
you didn't actually see, there was no
rubble moved
CGI
at all.
or...
That was great.
Yeah, it's just the lights went out, there's a big crash noise, and then you run out into this really impressive sized set.
Something's happened outside.
Hey, I've just been for a bag of chips, lass. There's no to worry about. Hey, don't take on so. Anyway, there's somebody that we've never heard of has died under rubble, and she's been crushed by a train, a terrible train. Oh, no.
Yes, they kill off the character that
we've never met before, we've never heard of before, and we'll never refer to again.
just to show that it's a deadly thing, this massive train that's fallen out of the sky. And then they find out about the character we care about, Ina.
Who bursts out like Action Man. Now we're under that bloody train the whole time. I am at a loss to convey into words just how brilliant that was. It was gripping.
It was absolutely compelling.
The three characters are involved. The Sonia, who we never see, we've never heard of, we'll never meet now, and her husband-to-be, they're getting married in a week, to live in a country pub. And they'll live happily ever after.
I just need to fly this last mission.
Yeah, she was just 1 week away from retiring as a police officer.
And, a 1,000-year-old mother who isn't her mother, with a glass eye, in fact, which you only find out in the sort of last scene that she's in.
And a horrible hat.
And a terrible. But despite all the piss that we're taking here, you do actually find yourself caring about those characters.
Yeah, and Annie Walker, who's been a bit of a cow to Jack previously, is utterly distraught by the fact that he might be squashed under it. And he turns up and doesn't realise how worried she's been.
Oh, you daft bitch. I'm still alive. I've only been for a bag of chips.
She's late into poor Hilda Ogden.
Yeah, Hilda, who wouldn't shut the fuck up.
And we get to see what Hilda Ogden looks like without curlers in.
Yeah.
I know. It's like she stuck her head in some sort of popcorn machine.
Yeah. After that, they were just like, no, the curlers will
Keep
stay.
the curlers.
Forever.
Curlers or hat.
I will stand by this, that the 1960s are my favourite era of Coronation Street because there was nothing to fall back on. There was no special effects. They had to rely on the scripts, the storytelling, the acting. And the further you get through time, not to be derogatory about modern television in any way, because there's some wonderful stuff on TV, but 60s TV, more 60s than 50s, I will say, because we have seen some truly dreadful 50s TV.
And truly wonderful 50s TV.
And truly wonderful.
And we've seen some truly dreadful and truly wonderful 60s TV. We've seen some truly dreadful and truly wonderful 70s TV, and right the way through.
This story continues right the way to the present day. We'll skip a bit. But this is why I love particularly the 60s TV, because all they've got is a script and the actors. And if that doesn't work, then you're lost. And for whatever derision can be poured on soaps, that was good TV.
It was. And when in 2010, for Coronation Street's 50th anniversary, they had the tram crash, and they did have special effects and stuff for that. But the scenes for the live episode where it was people crawling through rubble to try and find characters, that was almost exact mirror of that episode that we just saw.
That happened the day that we had a Christmas market in Rishton.
Right.
And I abandoned the Christmas market to come home and watch that episode because the person I was with at the time was really into it. And I've got to admit, I knew what was... The tram crash had been publicised in advance. I wanted to see what they would do. It was one of the most spectacular pieces of television I've ever seen. And I will not have a word said against it for being a soap opera. Have you seen the tram crash?
No.
Oh, it's... And in fact, I think we should dig out a copy of it. We do have a copy of it somewhere in the house. I think we should watch it. So as we're about to jump forward in time, we better jump forward in gin as well. It's time to wave the tonic screwdriver for a second time tonight. This time we're drinking Wrekin Spirit. It's a rhubarb gin liqueur. It's 30%. And the infobolic says, within sight of the Wrekin, deep in the heart of the Shropshire countryside, copper stills continue their magic. The result is a delicious handcrafted rhubarb gin liqueur. This delightfully fruity liqueur is crafted using our original gin and freshly squeezed rhubarb grown here on the farm. Enjoy it neat or with a light tonic, and better grammar than's on this label. Well, it's cloudy.
And kind of pale orange.
Squeezed rhubarb.
I've never heard of squeezed rhubarb before, but I'm willing to give it a go. First things first, gentlemen, what is the nasal appraisal? It's a very strong...
Rhubarby smell.
Yeah.
Yes.
It smells of real rhubarb, though, not...
Squeezed rhubarb.
yeah, almost a rhubarb juice, you might say.
As if it's been put through a mangle. Mangled rhubarb.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Mangle, let's...
That's not really what I was expecting. No. Because you can taste the rhubarb, but it's not overpowering, and it's certainly not as strong as the smell would suggest. It's sweet. It's got a bit of a bite to it, but it's not overpowering when you drink it neat as a liqueur. I like this. You're not a fan.
I'm slightly less keen. I'm usually a fan of liqueurs, and I certainly like rhubarb as a flavour. This feels a little unrefined. I think I might drop some ice in this and see if it improves. Usually I wouldn't do that with the liqueur, but I think it could probably do with being cooled down a few degrees. I'm not mad fond. I think it could do with a little bit of refinement, because the bare bones of it are there, and we've had rhubarb liqueurs and they've been very nice. This has potential. I don't think it's there yet.
I mean, to be fair, it is a bit single note.
But the single note isn't rhubarby enough. Paul?
I think it tastes like rhubarb juice.
Squeezed rhubarb.
Yeah, and having never experienced rhubarb juice, I don't know. So I have to use my
A
imagination.
pint of rhubarb juice, barkeep, and be quick about it.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like what I was expecting it to taste like, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I quite like it.
It's 4 from me.
It's a 3 from me.
I'm going to go 4.
Excellent. I'm glad that you two are enjoying it very much. No, I'm enjoying it more than I am. I do always feel disingenuous, whatever it is, when I enjoy it less than it deserves. And I know I'm enjoying this less than it deserves. So, on with the motley, with a freshly charged, freshly squeezed glass. We are going to introduce Dr. Exton to the 2010 50th anniversary of Coronation Street, and we are just going to watch the tram crash scene. Run VT.
Come on, get out! Peter! What? Oh, there's been an explosion! Coronation Street! Weatherfield, yes! There's flames everywhere! I think there's people still in there!
So, a touch out of context, but we have, Paul and I have seen the 2010 tram crash before. You clearly haven't.
No.
I know that it's a tiny sort of 2-minute fragment of soap. As an actual scene in a soap opera.
There were special effects.
But for a soap opera.
The Emmerdale plane crash was a little more impressive.
Oh, you must be joking.
No, as a spectacle, yeah. Now, what led up to it, what followed on from it would be the interesting bit, you know, all the rescue afterwards, the hours of live episode that you just told me I'm not allowed to watch.
You're not allowed to watch. We're not watching it. It's out of context. It was more to see what your reaction would be to that particular scene.
I'm more engaged with the 1960s stuff. I know what the lead up to it was. I know what the characters involved were. I didn't recognise any of the characters who appeared to be in jeopardy.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, I've seen a 2-minute explosion that's been better done in films. Out of context.
All the magic erased from this piece. Paul,
Because it doesn't have the context.
I completely understand there's no context to it. It was more really to see what because Ken Barlow's still in it. But people like Rita was in there and Deirdre was in there. I thought you possibly might have met a touch of a connection there. If nothing else, just for the spectacle
Deirdre, I didn't remember seeing Rita, actually.
Rita was in the shop.
Was she the one that the rubble was falling on?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The camera angle up her nose didn't make that clear.
No.
It wasn't the most flattering shot she's ever been in, no.
She does get to do the line a couple of episodes later when you find out that she's okay, and she says, "What is it about me and trams?" Because
Alan Bradley.
Because of the Alan Bradley Rita.
I mean, I know he tried to kill her, but did he try to kill her by pushing her in front of a tram?
No, but he was killed by a tram
On Blackpool, chasing her.
Yeah.
Killed by one of the Blackpool tram. They go about 2 miles an hour. You can walk faster than them.
Yeah, he was very unlucky.
Yes, and Marco Polo didn't. He wasn't aware of trams.
Was it a police squad? No.
The desired effect, I'm afraid, Paul, has been lost here.
Well, you see, I thought we were going to watch the full episode. That's what I was geared up for. That was what I had been emotionally promised.
In your mind. Paul, I'm going to turn over to you for this, just a brief appraisal of that particular scene. And I remember seeing that on transmission and being blown away by it. I was not a fan of Coronation Street. I didn't watch every episode, but my wife at the time was very big on it, and I've got to say I watched it and I was invested in it, and I couldn't believe that they'd put all that effort into a soap opera, because it wasn't a standard soap opera scene. It was like something out of a major drama.
Yeah, it was. And I really like the way that they tied it way back to 1967, because a lot of the scenes, particularly in the following episode, which was a live episode, which a lot of the Coronation Street in 1967 was broadcast live. I don't know if the tram crash one was. It was done as live, wasn't it?
A lot of TV in the 1960s, and indeed the 50s, was recorded as if it was a theatre production, basically. So there weren't any recording breaks. It was recorded as live. So I've never quite understood the conceit of making modern TV programmes live.
It's a gimmick, isn't it?
It's a gimmick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lovely idea that, look, these actors, look how good they are. This is live. You're watching it live. You're watching a performance live.
Yes, well done you. You can do your job.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But it does open the door wide to mistakes and fluffs, and you can't put this right, and a less polished experience. I mean, the very first podcast we ever did, we watched the Quatermass experiment from 2005, which was recorded live. Now, it was perfectly good. It was a good piece of TV. I don't think it benefited from being recorded live, because all the special effects they couldn't do. If there were any fluffs, they couldn't retake.
But there weren't. Can you think of a
Oh, no, there weren't any. That's not to say that there were.
David Tennant really nearly skidding on his ass when he ran around a corner. But
in patent leather shoes, running around a hospital corner at 100 miles an hour, that almost broke his neck. But
and apparently there were some special effect shots that they
couldn't do, that they probably could have done. Well,
they had them prepared. They just they couldn't put in the film in the way that they would have done it in a live production in the 50s.
So I've never quite got the whole live thing beyond. I mean, I know that one of the Big Finish, the Cybermen series, which I never heard, one of those was recorded as live.
Was it actually recorded as live?
Yes, with all the special effects played in. And I mean,
it wasn't just Gary Russell talking bollocks again.
Nick Briggs.
Same man, different hat.
Because
just segueing a little, real time, that Cyberman thing is supposed to be an as live thing, and it is utter bollocks, because there's people disappear off, and then 3 weeks later they come back, and how that is supposed to have been in real time. So if it's that kind of thing as oh, this is live because the actors were breathing.
No, I think it was Cyberman 2, I'm fairly sure they did. And at least an episode, if not a few, as live. It's a lovely gimmick, but beyond that, you can achieve much better polish
I think
if you record.
You can. I think when there's a historical context or parallel that you're drawing to, like the Quatermass experiment and tying back to that experience of live television, like the Coronation Street that is obviously very closely paralleling the 1967, which would have been recorded as live. I can see the value to that as something more than a gimmick. Now, live episodes of EastEnders, that I can't see the point of because there isn't that historical context to tie it into.
It's a gimmick I don't particularly care for, and I have no desire to see repeated at all because I just think that recorded episodes are just far more polished than live, and it's less pressure on the actors. Let's be honest.
To do their job.
To do their job, but bear in mind, television actors are not theatre actors.
But they've still been trained as actors.
They have, but if you have spent your entire life, or the vast majority of your career, television acting with retakes and scene changes and what have you, and then immediately...
Then you have to up your game, oh dear.
You're a harsh man, Dr. Exton. I've said it before. You know, if somebody suddenly said to you, well, we've got a vacancy. There's a brain surgery needs to take place. Come on, up your game, Dr. Exton.
Entirely different because...
So is theatre and TV
yes,
acting.
But the point is that these people have been trained to do theatre acting as part of their acting training, and they just haven't done it. But they have had that initial training. I've never been trained to do brain surgery.
Okay, let's take something that you have been trained to do, but you've never actually done. You know how to do it, you know what theory is, but you've never actually really done it every day. You're actually describing the job of a doctor. There are lots of things in my career that I have never done before, and 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm the only one available to do it. I have to man up and do it. It's not what I do at the moment because I don't do on-calls, but that has been my job. And there have been times where I've just had to go and YouTube what I'm about to do and get on and do it. Yes, I'm fine with that, but I can't say that it's... So that parallel doesn't work. Try another one. No, I'm going to say to you, though, that parallel... It's not your usual default setting, therefore... I manned up and did it. Yes. These people have been trained as actors. They should act. Right. I'm not saying they can't do it or that you can't do it. But then what's the point? If they can do it and they're being paid to do it, why don't they do it? You're a miserable bastard at times. Anyway, I'm going to come down on the side of the actors here, or anyone that suddenly steps up to do a job that they don't do every day. It is going to be a touch on the difficult side. In this particular instance, for no discernible reason. Whereas I think there is a discernible reason. Right, I'm going to shut you down here because I'm sick of your fucking voice. Paul... Aha! Paul, I'm going to leave the final word to you on this episode. It was a great callback to the one that we just watched. The live episode that followed was actually really good, and I don't think there was anyone who didn't step up and do what they have been trained to do. I don't think I've watched it again, but it was good. On the whole, looking back, because we have primarily been looking at the 1960s tonight, I love 1960s Coronation Street. It's my favourite era of Coronation Street. It's frankly my favourite era of TV. There's a magic about it that I don't think was ever recaptured again. Where soap opera is concerned, Simon, I completely agree with you that it's a snapshot of life at the time. It's probably harder to see in the present day because you don't see it as a snapshot of the present day because you're living it. But they are a real driver of social change, which you do see. Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And that's kind of been found by accident. I mean, it was things like the gay kiss, the first gay kiss on EastEnders, and suicide storylines and storylines about mental health, and people saying, actually, this has really spoken to me, and seeing my problems and struggles being put on the screen and putting and sort of humanising a face to it. And this has helped me understand what
other people that I know are going through in a similar context. And that's now done deliberately and consciously. And at the end of episodes, you'll have if you've been affected by anything in this episode, then these are the helplines to call.
Yeah, but it's always been there, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
From the 60s. Was it Ken Barlow who attempted suicide in the 60s? Or maybe...
No, there was one of
his wives actually committed suicide.
No, maybe later on. Val was electrocuted.
Yeah,
but it wasn't suicide. It was a dodgy hairdresser, a dodgy hairdryer. There was at least one successful suicide in the 60s. It was Sheila Birtles, was it? A factory girl?
Oh, you've got me on that. I don't know.
Right. I think she'd been jilted by somebody. Dennis Tanner, possibly. And
we all...
Everyone in the whole world has been jilted by Dennis Tanner.
Dennis Tanner does get around, and he was quite camp.
Because he's quietly gay. I am convinced that having seen his performance tonight...
I don't think he was quietly gay.
It is a touch of the Larry Graysons, I would say.
And in the very early years, there were, so pre-Tim Aspinall time... Yeah, but before that, there were a number of quite socially dynamic and hard-hitting storylines that were blocked by the higher-ups at Granada.
She's gone and tried to kill herself. Mother, I think I might go down to Rover's Return and have a pint just to calm my nerves. Oh, shut that door. I'd get to the foot of our stairs if I could.
But there was planned to be a storyline about teenage drug addiction. There was planned to be a storyline about homosexuality, which in pre-decriminalisation would have been a big deal.
Scandalous.
I think there were about 4 or 5 things with the original cast, so the
Tanner was the nickname for a sixpence, and another name for a sixpence was a bender. So I think we know who the homosexuality storyline might have been.
Well, you're wrong. The carpenter, the one who was working with Len.
Oh, yeah.
Married to Susan Jameson, they got booted out, and then he came back, but she didn't. Jerry.
He was punching well above his weight.
She was a beard all the time.
A beard. You two have taught me so many phrases that I didn't know before. Educating me in the ways of the gays.
The words of the gays, I think.
Rounding us off, that was bloody marvellous. Tonight has been a joy. A great little slice of, I will say, drama, because they were drama. I loved every second, and I would happily watch more of the black and white era of Corrie.
Absolutely.
So, did the Ogdens move into the Barlow's old house?
No, the Ogdens were way further down. They were right next to the corner shop, so that would have been 13, would it? 11, 13, something like that.
So did they nick the ducks from the Barlow's old house?
I don't know, because they
in that first episode, there was the ducks that turn up later with Hilda Ogden and her Muriels.
They weren't in the Barlow's house, though. They were in the Tanner's house.
No, they're in the Barlow's house.
No, it was
behind Ida Barlow's head.
It was Pat Phoenix. What's her name? Elsa Tanner.
Was it?
Yeah. The daughter that had come home from the Polish husband, she'd come home and brought her plaster ducks with her.
And they lived at number 11.
5? I can't remember.
No, they lived at number 11 because there was all that.
Florrie Lindley was told, watch out for Elsie Tanner at number 11.
And it was number 11 that American bloke was standing outside.
This is classic piecing together that we're doing here.
And it was number 11 that Hilda and Stanley, because
I think
that's
it
now
was
Kevin Webster's house.
Does he have the ducks?
Is
it not possible to pry them off the wall?
No, they're welded onto the wall.
Even once he took them on, the haunted ducks. This has been a love letter to Network. You will be sadly missed, Network. You have done an awful lot for archive TV aficionados. And I've got to say that the box set of the 60s Coronation Street, and I know that it's not the only one that they did, they've done box sets for other eras as well. That was marvellous. And you've picked a cracking selection of episodes. Thank you very much, Network.
Hurrah.
Yes, and the many pounds that have leapt out of my bank account.
Many pounds. Many pounds.
Many times.
Network, we salute you for everything that you are, were, maybe hopefully will be in the future. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
The Exton Moss experiment featured Simon Exton and Ken Moss. All featured soundtracks are the property of their respective producers, and no infringement of copyright is intended. Title music was performed by the BBC Symphony Orchestra, and the programme was produced by Maverick Productions. For more information, please visit maverickproductionsuk.blogspot.com or find us on social media.